Me, the world's foremost authority on
figure out your offensive identity, like towards that second half of the year. Now that you're year two in Luke Getsy's system, do you expect to have a better idea of what the identity of this offense will be week one, or do you think new team, new year, we'll see as it goes?
I think a little bit of both. I think, we did find our identity, like you said, a little bit into the year. But, I think we know what we want to do on offense, and we know what we want to get accomplished. And, of course, we're going to continue to improve throughout the year as the year goes along. But I think kind of what you said is going to be a little bit of both of, we do have new players on the team. So going to have to find, this new team's identity. But, we already kind of do have an identity set in place from last year. So definitely going to roll with that too.
Justin, after all the preseason and the training camp, how anxious are you to get into the real playbook and do the things that maybe you guys haven't been able to do in the preseason games?
I'm ready. So ready to go. It'll be fun.
Justin, your second game last season against Green Bay was one of your more complete outings of the year. When you go back and look at that, what do you see? What jumps out to you in terms of what created some of that success and momentum?
I think the O-line did a good job, protecting that game. We had a lot of explosive plays that game. We did pretty good on third down too. So really just all you need to be successful in a game. Explosive plays, great protection from the O-line, and situational execution. Third down, go zone. That's what we're going to have to do to win this game. And, if you do that every game, then you're going to, pretty much have a good game. So,
Justin, I've got two questions. First, how does the talent that you guys have in the tight end room and kind of the mix of guys with different abilities allow you to attack offenses this season, specifically maybe in 12 personnel?
Yeah. We can do a lot of different things with, our tight end room. Some teams, they put nickel out on the field versus, 12 personnel, and some teams keep out base. So, just personnel matchups, with, the guys that we do have in the tight end room, just getting certain matchups that we, might want. If a team does leave a certain personnel, when we do have that 12 personnel out on the field, that'll give us the matchups we want. So just little stuff like that.
And then as last season went on, and I understand every opponent's going to be a little bit different, have a different strategy, but did you see any shift in how teams generally try to defend you in terms of maybe man coverage versus zone?
No, I think it was just really just team dependent, what their kind of main thing was. So, some teams went more man and some teams went more zone. So, regardless, just got to look at the defense and just react to what they do.
How do you view the challenge this year of defenses will very likely focus and make a priority of trying to keep you in the pocket and make you win that way until you show consistently that you can do it?
So how do I what?
How do you view that? I mean, do you view that as something that you could take advantage of maybe, or?
Yeah, that's fine with me. It is what it is. At the end of the day, like I said, we look at the defense and react to it. So whichever way we got to beat them, that's the way we're going to do it. So, yeah.
I know you just want to be the best version of your own self, but are you at all motivated by this idea that, the throne of NFC quarterbacks is now kind of vacated and it's open for whomever wants to come claim it and reign for the next 10 years?
You said, are
you at all motivated by that? Like, Ham's gone and now you have the potential to step up and be the quarterback in the North. Does that motivate you at all?
No, not really. Not really motivated by that kind of stuff. I don't even look at that stuff, to be honest with you. Like you said, I think you kind of answered your question. I just try to be, the best version of myself. Try to get better each and every day. So whatever that may look like, that's what it is. So, yeah.
Justin, how do you view the opportunity this team has, though, to gain an edge back in this Packers rivalry?
So how do I view it? Can you ask the question again, please?
How do you view it? There's a big opportunity here. This team hasn't won back-to-back against the Packers since 2007. Since Favre, I think, was a backup. How do you view the opportunity to kind of level the playing field between the Bears and the Packers in this rivalry?
Of course, it's a big rivalry, but it's game one. It's the most important game of the season, so not really looking back towards history. I'm looking to now. So like I said before, we got a different team this year. Last year, that was last year, so it's a different year. But we don't worry about. We don't really care what happened in the past, that doesn't affect, what's going to happen on Sunday. So we're just looking to go out there, play our best, and, put our best foot forward.
Justin, with the upgraded talent around you, is there a different level of confidence heading into this season as to what you guys can accomplish?
I think so. We have a lot of great players around us, but I mean, at the end of the day, no matter who's on the field, you got to go out there and execute. Go out there and do your job. Everybody has to do it. So it's going to take all 11, and as long as we do that, we'll be.
Have you picked his brain a little bit? Have you learned kind of some stuff from him since he's been in the league for so long?
Yeah, I mean, for sure. I think since he's been here, he's talked to the team multiple times, and it's kind of given his advice on how long or why he's been in the league for how long. And I think what makes him different than most players is his mindset. How he attacks every day. So it's definitely great having him on the team, and just being able to share his experiences, his kind of tribulations through the years of him being in the league, and just learning from him. So it's been good.
Justin, what did you see in training camp and the preseason that most told you the most that this team is ready to take that next step, this offense, and then from the start?
Just our mindset. How we come in every day, creating that championship mindset, and what we want to do. Competitive greatness, and just little stuff like that. So yeah.
You and Jordan have trained together, hosted camps together.
Say what?
You and Jordan Love have trained together, hosted camps together in the offseason. What is that? Can you speak to what that relationship is like off the field, and then maybe what you're kind of telling the defense what they can expect on Sunday?
I don't really study their offense too much, but of course, Jordan is a great guy off the field, and of course, he's a good quarterback too. So we don't just text, every week or anything like that, but we are cool. We're friends and stuff like that. So, yeah, but in terms of scheme and stuff like that, I'm not about to go tell the defense what to expect, because I have no idea what their offense is going to do. So, yeah.
Justin, you've been around Cole for a couple of years. What in your mind makes him most valuable, both from a talent standpoint and from just kind of the persona and leadership approach that he has?
Yeah, as a leader, Cole's, he's one of the hardest workers that we have on the team, and on the field wise, he can do whatever you need him to do as a tight end. He's a great pass catcher, great route runner. Attacks defenders with speed, and he's also great in the run game too. So he does his job in the run game, blocks. He's very smart. So just all of those characteristics in a player. That's of course what you want in your team.
Justin, Jason was asking you about if you need to be in the pocket, if teams are really keying on or daring you to beat them throwing. How do you feel about it? How about this? That was your focus going into the offseason. A lot of work on your ability as a passer, footwork, all that stuff. How would you describe your focus on that during the offseason, and how do you feel like as you approach week one, that work paid off for you and prepared you for this season?
Yeah, I feel comfortable with, as far as everything goes with footwork and stuff like that. So, just working hard, doing what I do day in and day out. And like I said, just getting better each and every day. Whatever the defense presents, whichever way they're going to allow us to beat them, that's what we're going to do, like I said before. So, yeah. So whatever I have to do, for this team to win, that's what I'm going to do, and just go about it like that. So, yeah.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Justin.
Take some
Good work, everyone.
I lost all my money.
Live reacting to, getting a little double audio there. Live reacting to the Chicago Bears press conference. Justin Fields talking at the podium. Good to hear from you. Pat the Designer here with the Chicago Bears podcast. Appreciate you guys for tuning in and showing love. Hit that like button. Subscribe to the page. We do talk Chicago sports daily on this channel. Bears talk every single day. Listen, we got QB1. He's excited about what's coming with this first Packers game. It's an opportunity to set the tone. We want to hear from you guys. We want to take calls from you guys. 312-332-3776. Reacting to Justin Fields and what he said. We've also got Matt Eberflus coming up ahead of coming up next, I should say. Listen, this is an opportunity for Justin to take over the franchise. You know, this is an opportunity to take over the rivalry. This is an opportunity for Justin to stake his claim into what he wants coming next. And it's an opportunity to me that he has to take advantage of. He sounds confident coming into this. I don't know. I know we all want the visceral hate that used to happen back in the day from these younger players, this younger generation of players. It's not coming. Yeah, I mean, like he's like, yeah, I talked to Jordan Love. We're cool. We're friends. You know what I mean? Like it sounds weird coming from a Bears Packers situation, doesn't it? But man, I got goosebumps, man. I keep saying, right? I got a tweet going out right now talking about how many sleeps. As we got Matt Eberflus coming up here at the podium now.
Guys came
Appreciate
in
them
early
for getting that
today
out
and
quick.
had our meetings, had our team meeting, talked about and established our goals for keys to victory as we do every week. Talked about our opponent personnel, offense, defense, and kicking. That was really good. Then they went to unit meetings. We do some meetings and walkthroughs in our ITC. All units do that. So that's good to get the preparation done for this week. And then this will be a pads day for us, first and second down. And we'll be right out here in our fields that are close to us today. So we're looking for, fast, physical execution today in practice. Like we said, first and second down runs and run actions and all the things you do in that normal downs during the game. So we're excited about that. Have everybody back available to us today, which is excellent. In terms of our health of our football team, we're excited about that. And with that, I'll open up to questions.
And you saw the way the teams defended Justin change last season as he succeeded so much as a rusher. You saw teams key in on that more. Are you expecting a season of that now where he's coming off a 1,000-yard rushing season? Every defense that faces him is going to try to force him to prove he can do it from the pocket.
Yeah, you could potentially see that. We'll just have to adjust to see what they give us. We're not sure. I mean, we anticipate that, and sometimes you have to have a plan for. Well, not sometimes you have to have a plan for both. They're going to play them straight up, or they're going to do what they did last year. So, again, the effectiveness of the run game and the pass game will dictate that, and I think that's going forward. That's going to be something we're going to have to look at.
Do you think, even though that would be keying in on taking away one of his strengths, do you think that would be something Justin could use to his advantage if he truly has grown as a passer like you guys are telling us?
Yeah, I would say that's true because I think when you try to take away something, you open up something else, and I think that's try to load the box to stop the run. You open up the receivers on the outside, you try to defend the pass and, play more split safety. You open up the run, so to speak, in terms of the basics of football. But certainly with him, taking away that run game for him is something that people did last year, and that should open up different avenues for us.
The depth chart that was released yesterday did have Nathan Peterman down as the number 2 quarterback and Tyson Bagent 3. Is that what you're rolling with?
Well, that's what we're looking at right now. We haven't made a final decision, but that's what we're leaning to right now for this first game. But we'll see where it goes during the course of the week, and we certainly reserve the right to make any adjustments as we need to going forward.
Is that something that could be, even if neither of those guys was to be needed next month and a half? Is that something where there could still be competition in practice where 6 weeks from now you might have a different pecking order there?
Yeah, I think that's to be said for the whole football team. I think that we're always looking at guys developing and improving during the course of the year. And that person could jump into another number 2 role or stay where he is. So I think that's what's with everybody for our football team.
As you outline goals for this team and you look ahead to the season, do you talk about winning the division? Do you want these guys thinking about that as a goal, or is it more kind of the focus of each game?
No, that's our goal. That's our number 1 goal is to win the division, and then win the conference and then go to the Super Bowl, and have a chance to win that. And we talk about that early on, in the spring. But we know that division games are more important. They have a little more weight to them. And we're excited about this one.
We all have a lot of new players in here, a lot of young players who have little or no experience with this whole Bears-Packers thing, right? And come Monday morning, win or lose, this town, we're probably going to overreact to whatever it is. How do you focus on this? Like, how do you not make it bigger than it is to your team?
Well, I think you have to state what it is. I mean, it's a heck of a rivalry, right? It's the best tradition, best rivalry in football, so you got to state that. That's a fact. The other thing is that, this is one game, right? This is the only game we can control, and we control one play at a time. This preparation for this week, playing against this opponent this week one, so you got to micro it down for them too. And so that's how you win the game, right? You might do it one play at a time and do it all the way through the game. So you just talk to them that way.
What hurdles specifically do young defensive tackles face? What are you looking for to see success from them?
Yeah, I would just say that to be able to wire in, the old cycle of the snap, to be able to wire in and do your job one play at a time. Because, in that position, you have to own that gap inside and you have to do different movements that we ask them to do, different pressures, different movement line stunts that we do that we've always done. So for me, it's just that. It's just wire in, cycle of the snap, because you can get, as a young player, you can get discouraged with adversity sometimes. It doesn't matter if it's corner or if it's D tackle, wherever that might be. You got to wire in, flip the page, and go to the next play. And that's what they have to learn how to do.
So some people have said before that for rookies, the closer their position is to the ball, the easier it is for them to have success right away. Do you buy into that at all?
Yeah, I can see that. I think that, your job is more, it's right there right now on you, and it's less space. I certainly could see the point to that.
Patrick's been here a while, but he hasn't been healthy a lot. And we haven't seen him in game action much. What do you sense you have in him as you go to the starting gates for this season?
Yeah, we just hope he's, stays healthy and does, performs well, for him. I know it's been frustrating for him. I know he's wanted to be on the field. I know he's worked, extremely hard this offseason to change his body. We were certainly excited about that. And then he got injured, during training camp. So I know there's a little frustration for him, but he's just putting his best foot forward for this week. And we expect him to execute.
There's been quite a few guys who've been out for quite a long time, leading up to the opener. How confident are you that this group is just going to be able to all come together right away from week one?
Yeah, I mean, that's real, right? So we just make sure that last week we had a couple good practices. We had a pads practice, and then a shells practice, and they were lengthy practices leading up into this week. So we got some good preparation, not only for our first opponent for Green Bay, but also just the continuity piece of getting that line together on both sides, and it'll be good to get our safeties back this week to be communicating with our linebackers. That's the other thing we're looking at. So it's going to be a good week of practice.
It's not that too. You say that to that question. You said that's a real thing. Are you guys kind of like? Is there a little bit of mystery with you guys too? Like you got to let them go play, and we'll kind of see where we're at just because of all the injuries and time.
Yeah, I would say that. But you have guys that have experience, and they even with our safeties, they played all together last year. So I feel really good about that. With the line, those guys all have experience. It's just about working together. The continuity piece of it, and we're going to work on that this week.
Now, why Patrick at left guard? Why Patrick at center instead of just keeping Cody at center and moving Patrick?
We're just looking at the best combination. What we feel is the best combination as a football staff. Simo, myself, Getsy, that's what we feel is the best combination. And certainly during practice, we're going to flip that combination because you have to be ready as the old pair and a spare. You got to be ready to go.
What would be the rationale behind that plan then? So is it just that Lucas Patrick is better in your mind at one spot than the other, or is it something with Cody?
Yeah, just our best combination with the pair of those guys where we feel they are. That's it.
Matt, with as much focus as there was on Rodgers last year, they ran the ball well against you in both games, and that was kind of a constant problem. Just simply, how better equipped are you in what ways to stop the run against the Packers than anybody?
Yeah, we've worked very hard on that this year. With the defensive tackles, with the defensive ends, with our linebackers, with the style that we're doing and the techniques and fundamentals, and we'll see where we are. We know last year is last year and this year is this year. We start the season off with this first game, and we'll see how improved we are.
Jordan Love hasn't put much of his scrambling ability on tape in the NFL. I know a little bit here in the preseason, given how big of an asset that was for Rodgers. Like, how do you know how to defend Love in that when he's able to do that versus what Rodgers was like?
Yeah, we think Love is very athletic. We think he's got good escapability. He's got the ability to move in and out of the pocket. He's exhibited that when he's been in there, and certainly on his college tape he did too. So, he's a very good athlete.
Is that something that you have to go back to his Utah State tape to watch?
You do. You go back and look at that, but you look at some of the things he's done, when he's been in there, and you can certainly see the athleticism there.
With Darnell, right, are there things from a defensive coordinator standpoint that you kind of can tell him this is the way they might take advantage of you, or what are some things that a rookie offensive lineman's got to know or be ready for?
Yeah, they're going to throw their fastball at him. You know, they're going to definitely do that. They got some good players up front. They got a lot of first round picks on that defense, and you know, a lot of them are up front. And those guys are going to throw their fastball, and he's got to be able to, you know, do his thing. You know, in terms of, you know, setting the right way, setting in pass pro, you know, being aggressive but under control in the run game. You know, being able to get, you know, work with the guy next to him. You know, 5=1 in terms of our offensive line, and I'm excited for him. I'm excited to see him play.
Kenny Clark is one of those guys up front that does a lot for them defensively. When he's at his best, what makes him difficult to handle?
Oh, he's just the get off, you know, and the power, you know, the speed, the power that he has, the athleticism. He's a good run player. He's good on one-on-one matchups, you know, so he's a very good player.
We know today's a big day for Jaquan Brisker in terms of being ready for Sunday. What are the things that you're going to be looking for in practice that'll indicate to you, yeah, okay, he's good to go for week 1?
Just execution, and I want to see speed. You know, I want to see the speed that he's able to play at, which he's exhibited that the last, you know, workouts in the last, you know, practice that we had. So just excited to see that. And his communication with Eddie and, you know, Kyler and the rest of the defense. And that's been good. So just excited to see him going full speed.
What did you expect him to be ready to go Sunday?
Yes. Yep. Today's a big day, like we said, but he's looked good all the way to this point. So we're excited about it.
What did you learn about being a head coach on game day specifically last year? And are there areas where you want to improve?
Yeah, I mean, just the game management side of it, and that's what we do, and just helping out the coordinators. That's what we did, you know, last year, and we continue to do during preseason this year, and we continue to grow, you know, as managing the game and helping the coordinators out, and during the course of the week and during the course of the game, and that's where we're going. All right.
That was Matt Eberflus live at the podium. Great to hear from the head coach of the Chicago Bears. He sounds confident coming into this first game. And listen, he's got to be. This is an opportunity for you to take over the division, start things off on the right foot, right? Like this Lions game Thursday is going to be saying a lot about where this division is going to be starting off in the NFC North. How are they going to take that next step? Pat, the designer, back at it again. Appreciate you guys for showing love. Hit that like button, subscribe to the page, leave the 5-star review. You already know what to do, man. Appreciate everybody who's out here showing love, everybody who's out here showing support. I think here's the one thing for me. Here's the big part of the takeaway from the press conference. Jaquan Brisker seems like he's good to go. It's a speed thing, according to Flus. He wants to get out there and see what this guy's going to look like on the field. He'll be able to see that today with the padded practice. On top of that, he's going with this offensive line with Lucas Patrick, Cody Whitehair at left guard, Lucas Patrick being your starting center. Is that the best line? He says that's the best front five to put out there. I think that's the real question. Is it really the best front five to put out there? Because you got some dogs coming at you on the other side on this Packers defense, man. It's not, you know, I get it, right? Like we want to sit here and trash the Packers, and I'm fine with that. Like let's bring all that on, that team up north, all that good stuff. But at the end of the day, they got some talent on the defensive side of that football, no matter what we think about the offensive side. And we have to be able to protect our quarterback. Is our offensive line going to be able to do that? Is Darnell Wright going to be able to get off to a good start? Hey, I want to hear from you guys as well, man. Hit that call into the show. I'm so excited that football season is back. I'm so ready to talk to the Bears fans. I'm so ready to get in and dissect everything. Jason McKee's supposed to be joining us as well. So let's break this thing down, man. 312-332-3776. Call into the show. I want to start off here too. And shout out to Max Markham NFL on Twitter. Because this really shows you where the difference in this season from last season is. He made a list that has every single player from the Chicago Bears last season and where they are now. The drop-off is precipitous. And if you're a Bears fan and you look at this list and you don't feel better about where your team is right now, I don't know what to tell you. If there are reasons to be excited heading into this season, are all of the answers finished yet? No. Are all of the holes plugged? No. But let me read this list off to you here. These are Chicago Bears 2022 starters. You're starting this off, linebacker Nicholas Morrow. 17 starts. Where's he now? He's on the Eagles practice squad. Offensive lineman Sam Musfer, 17 games, 16 starts. He's on the Ravens practice squad. Al-Qadiq Muhammad, 16 games, 9 starts, Colts practice squad. Joe Thomas, 15 games, 9 starts, free agent. Michael Schofield, 11 games, 4 starts, free agent. Robert Quinn, 7 games, 7 starts, free agent. DeAndre Houston Carson, who I actually am surprised is still out there, 17 games, 6 starts, free agent. Mike Pennell, 17 games, 2 starts, free agent. Riley Reif, 16 games, 10 starts, Patriots second string, and he's on IR. Armon Watts, 17 games, 12 starts, Steelers third stringer. Travis Gibson, 17 games, 10 starts, Titans second stringer. Angelo Blackson, 15 games. The list is still going. He's adding to the list currently. As we welcome in Jason McKee to the show. J-Mac, what's good?
What's good, buddy? How you doing?
Hey, man. Hey, I'm excited. We got Bears, that team up north week. I'll show you your respect. You know what I mean? We're not gonna get you off on the wrong foot up in here. But I mean, we got Bears versus that team up north this week. And I was just going through this list, talking about where the Bears are starting off this season versus last season. Shout out again, Max Markham, NFL. I mean, literally, I just named 15 players.
Yeah.
That aren't even on teams.
Yeah.
Or are on practice squads, or are the third string guy. These were our starters last season. Riley Reif, Armon Watts, Travis Gibson, he's gonna be a guy. Angelo Blackson, though, Matt Adams, Byron Pringle. Just talk to us about kind of where this team is starting this season off versus that team up north versus where we were last season.
Yeah, just in terms of where we are, with the Bears, it's a complete 360. And you mentioned all those guys. I saw that tweet yesterday, and it was shocking to see that those were our starters. That was a lineup we were going into each and every week.
It was the best we were rolling with.
Yeah, but you know what? That's the hand that they were dealt last year. We knew it was going to be a lot of lumps and growing pains, and we weathered that storm. And then, Ryan Poles came in and did his thing this offseason. He made this team better. He brought in competition. He brought in depth. And we saw that throughout training camp, throughout preseason. And now you have a better product. You have elite players in the building. And to have an elite team, you got to have some blue chip players. You know what I'm saying? You bring in a Unique Ngakoue, who's an elite pass rusher. You bring in DJ Moore, who's an elite receiver. So these are things that you have to have. You've got to have these blue chip players if you want to make strides as a team, if you want to be successful. And I think that Ryan Poles, it's a testament to him, his staff, the scouts, and what the Bears have done to make this team better. And I think it's going to be great to finally see, all of these pieces that they've added on the field. Finally, they've kind of, they've talked about these pieces, and we haven't seen these guys in training camp. And you listen to the press conference with Coach Eberflus.
Yeah,
continuity. He kept talking about continuity, right? We haven't seen none of that because all these guys have not been on the field together. Even in Indy, Unique Ngakoue, I think he played a couple reps. Nate Davis hasn't been in the lineup. So it's going to be interesting to see. And, I really want to dive into the offensive line because we know that's where we're hurting right now, Pat. Obviously Tevin Jenkins is on IR. You move, huh?
Heard the ringtone vibes.
You saw that? Yeah, my phone going off. I thought I turned it off. But yeah, you move. So Lucas Patrick is in at center. Cody Whitehair is back at left guard. And you look at this Packers, defensive front. I mean, they got some guys over there, man.
Yeah.
You look at, Preston Smith, Rashawn Gary's coming back off an injury last year. And those are their edge guys. This defense is a 3-4 defense. You got Kenny Clark who can do a lot of good things. So it's going to be a real challenge for this Bears offensive line, especially on the edges, especially for the backs too. They're going to be in pass protection against Rashawn Gary, against a Preston Smith, depending on what that protection scheme is going to look like in terms of that play call. And those are two guys, Preston Smith and Rashawn Gary. If you look at game 1 against the Bears, Preston Smith had 2 sacks. Rashawn Gary had 1. So these are guys, right? The Green Bay knows that this offensive line is still a work in progress. The continuity hasn't been there all throughout training camp and preseason, and they're going to try to get after Justin. I'm interested to see what they do to try to defend Justin. Are they going to try to take away the pass and force him to run, or are they going to just, take away his legs, which I think they will, and try to see if he can beat them in the pocket. But Pat, as we know, another strength, is the back end of this defense. You got two great corners, Jairus Alexander and Rasul Douglas, two good corners in this league. So it's going to be a good matchup. It's going to be a tough matchup for us offensively, I think.
It's so interesting, right? And by the way, this episode brought to you by the Hard Rock Casino, Northern Indiana. See Sticks on October 13th at Hard Rock Live. Tickets on sale now at Ticketmaster.com. It's so interesting to me because when I look at this matchup to start the season, right? And when you look at, right, of course, everything that goes into Bears-Packers, you talked about kind of how they're going to try to attack Justin Fields early. There are two things that I'm really going to be focused on in this game. One, how is Justin Fields' arm going to look? And not only just how are the Bears going to protect Justin Fields, but the one thing I really want to see is if there's a change in mindset around the quarterback as far as the league. Because remember, last couple of years, Justin Fields has been allowed to get hit well after the whistle. We even saw it in a preseason game coming into this year. I want to see how the league is going to step up for this young man and how he's going to be able to overcome, if they don't, the mental aspect of that, because I think that's something that can last the entire season. We've seen this with Cam Newton, seen this with Lamar Jackson, where, you're a bigger quarterback that can use your legs. You should be able to get out of the way. Now he's going to be using his arm more. Is the perception on Justin Fields going to change?
Yeah, I mean, like Justin said in his press conference, look, he just wants to win. So we talked about this before. He's got to do whatever it takes to win. And whether it's him, rushing for over 100 yards or him passing for over, 250 yards, at the end of the day, it's about being in the right column. And that's that win column. So, that's what I'm looking for. I think with the weapons he has around him, guys, just their second year in Getsy's system, should we have a better offensive product on the field? Yes, most definitely. It should 100%. Be. But here's the thing, right? I think there's still going to be growing pains just because of like I talked about previously with that offensive line. Like these guys have not been together, this entire unit for training camp. Nate Davis has not practiced at all. Right. You know what I mean? And you got a young rookie in Darnell Wright playing right tackle. Those two guys have not lined up against each other. Maybe one practice, I don't know, maybe two, if I'm not mistaken, but they have not been in live action together. And normally when you have a young right tackle or a young rookie offensive lineman, pairing him with a veteran will accelerate that development process. But there's going to be a lack of development and an acceleration in that because Nate Davis has not been in the lineup. Braxton Jones is going to benefit, because Cody Whitehair has been in this league for a long time. He's played, center and guard, so he can help mentor him.
And they got that report from last season too.
And they got the report from last season. Yeah. So, the thing that you got to look at is not just the right side of the line, but even at center. Lucas Patrick has been out for I don't know how many practices as well. And that's what Coach Flus was talking about. Like, that's why they had those lengthy practices last week before they had the weekend off, trying to accelerate that continuity, trying to build continuity, trying to get that chemistry. Because offensive line, man, it's a tough position. Like, you got, you making calls, you're making checks, things can change in an instant, especially when that defensive line shifts and they start bringing pressure. You got to be on the same page. And when you have a unit that's been together, they have that chemistry. They have that continuity. Those calls and checks are easier to make. When you don't have that, it's harder to make that. So, can they get that done this week and even a little bit of practice last week? I don't know. I mean, there's going to be some growing pains, I think, starting off this game.
Here's the exciting part about being able to do this. This is Chicago Bears Podcast Live. We very rarely do this, but with the live aspect, we can actually go to the phone lines on this. We got people calling to the show, 312-332-3776. Q is out in Atlanta, wants to talk to me and J-Mac out here. Q, what's good? Q, you there?
Q? What's going on, Pat?
What's happening, Q?
You already know what it is, bro.
Hey, man, appreciate you for calling in. What's your thoughts, bro?
All right, so let's address what Poles has already told us that he was going to do in terms of getting this team built up. We know by what he said that the team wouldn't be fixed in one off season, right? So look at what he was able to actually do and his thought process and how he went about it. When he couldn't get McGlinchey, he went right to Nate Davis, right, and got the best free agent guard that he could get. Now, we're going to see if he can actually play, right? Scooped up Darnell Wright in the draft, the reason they kept Whitehair and Patrick and them guys is because they were already veterans. They were already on the team, and there were other holes on the defense that you needed to kind of add to, right? So I'm going to keep those guys because they're veterans, and hopefully I can get through the year with them while adding more talent on the other side of the ball, right? And then I get another crack at it next offseason through free agency and the draft to be able to address what I didn't get maybe on the offensive line this offseason, or what I need to get as an edge rusher out of the draft next year, or whatever the case may be. I think that sometimes as fans, we do a terrible job of listening to what the general manager is saying, and then we put the expectation of win now on top of that. And it's like the cover was bare when Poles came in. There was nothing really there to actually stand on that was tangible that you could say these are foundational pieces. So you're just trying to find them last year, right? Justin just ran his way into, okay, well, maybe we got something right there. Braxton just kind of played his way into, oh, well, maybe we have a left tackle, right? The only thing that he really drafted last year that you can say were those corners. Now you look at the defense, that back seven, I'm going to be honest with you, Pat, we might have the best secondary man for man in the NFL when it's all said and done, when the year is over with. I truly think we got the best slot corner in the NFL right now. I think that highly of Kyler, right? If you can keep Eddie and Jaquan healthy, you got something, right? And so now you have a good season, you go through it, and you're able to put another free agency class on top of that, another draft, right? Now you can kind of see Poles' plan coming together. But I think that a lot of times we do ourselves a disservice because we get worked up about what happened, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago. And it's like, you got to live in the moment, and I got to let the man cook in the moment.
No, for sure, Q. I mean, I think I appreciate the call in, brother. Appreciate the support
Thanks,
as
Q.
always, man.
Appreciate
You've been
you, man.
rocking with me for a minute out here. It speaks to, again, I bring up this list that Max Markham tweets out, right? It speaks to the difference that this team starts the season with. I do agree with all of J-Mac's points about the continuity and being able to play together. Listen, I've been saying, right, like Nate Davis better show up day one, play one, and be able to crap an all-pro performance out there. Like we talking about injury and other things. I'm sorry, like I thought your job was happening. That's my bad. I don't know what the other things were, but I thought you had to show up to work every day to have a job. That's just me, blue collar. Maybe that's just in me. But I do feel that, when you look at what Poles has done, how he's turned this roster over in 2 years, we get an opportunity to do something we didn't think we were going to have an opportunity to do when Ryan Poles got hired. We're going into week one of this season optimistic because of the players we have. Not just off of like, I hope this is going to work, because of the actual players we have. That's a completely different feeling than last year. I'm sitting here telling you guys, Nick Morrow was, he had some plays and, he just didn't get the opportunity. And Joe Thomas is a vet, and, Robert Quinn coming off 18, right? Like we're sitting there trying to create a narrative that is positive versus one that I think you get to come into this season and actually be positive on.
Yeah, and this is the thing, right? You talk about Poles cooking, right? He's brought a lot of ingredients to this team. He's addressed every level of this team on both sides of the ball. He's addressed the offensive line. He's brought in guys. You draft Darnell Wright, talk about Nate Davis and free agency. Then you let's go to the backfield. You bring in Deontay Foreman. You draft Rashawn Johnson. Let's go to receivers. Obviously we know DJ Moore. You bring him in.
That's the big one.
In quarterback, right? Yeah, Nate, they're trying to figure out who the number 2 is, but you take a shot on a guy as an undrafted free agent, out of a small school in Tyson Bagent, who just has an unbelievable preseason. Now he makes the roster. You know what I'm saying? So then defensive line, we raved all offseason. We need a pass rusher. We brought in Yannick Ngakoue. They got that done. Then you go to linebackers. You bring in 2 of the top tier linebackers in the league, and TJ Edwards, who's just coming off of, yes, a Super Bowl loss, but he's been there. Now you have a guy in the locker room that has the experience, right? That he can, he knows what it takes to get to the big dance. But then you also bring in a Tremaine Edmonds to solidify the middle of that defense, right? Who's effective stopping the run, but who's also a nightmare in the passing game because of his length.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So and then you address corner, Terrell Smith, Tyreek Stevenson. We see what these young corners can do. They have playmaking ability. Yes, they do. But do they have to develop and grow? Yes. But you brought in a lot of pieces that you didn't have last year. You know, a lot of promising pieces. And that's all you want from a team, right? You want to be able to continue developing your players, but you got to bring in young players to compete and to drive those veteran players that are currently on your roster. And that's what this staff has, that's what this organization has done this offseason. So that's why there's so much excitement here in Chicagoland. And that's why this game means so much, right? Not just because, I mean, it's game one, but obviously it's the biggest rivalry in football. I mean, it's Packer week. Yeah. And yeah, you have young guys in that building who have never been a part of this rivalry. But at the end of the day, it's up to those veteran guys. It's up to the organization to let these guys know the magnitude of this game and what it means to the city of Chicago, what it means to the Bears fans, what it means to the history of the Chicago Bears. And like, you know, Coach Flu said in his press conference, right? A division game holds more weight. So you're going to jumpstart this thing off right away. And, you know, you're playing Green Bay at home. This is a must-win game. You got to win this game.
It's so interesting too, and I want to get your thoughts on this because I ain't gonna lie to you, bro. I hate the Packers. Like, don't fake. Like I can feel the fakeness coming up. Like, y'all don't hate them yet. If you build something up where there's a real hate there, I'm fine with that. But like, I want to get your thoughts on this as we head into this next segment of the show. But first, I do want to go out to the phone lines. We got one more caller on here. George calling in from Pennsylvania. We getting calls all over the world out here, J-Mac.
Yay.
George calling in from Pennsylvania to talk Bears. What's good, George?
Pat, big fan. Pat, the designer. I'm honored to be on your show. It's not
Appreciate
just a
you, brother.
George. It's the real name is George Hallis. No joke.
Your
so I'm
real
from
name.
Con-
Wait a minute. You can't move past it. Your real name is George Hallis.
Yeah. So parents are immigrants from Greece. No affiliation to any sports team growing up. Honored with the name George Hallis. I was about 7 years old. I see my name on the TV screen, and I'm, of course, like any 7-year-old, all fired up and talking about Papa Bear. And it was over, man. I've been a Chicago sports fan ever since, and diehard Bears fan.
I love it, man. I love it. You got a connection to this team that nobody else has got. What's your thoughts, brother? How you feeling heading into this Packers game?
Optimistically, I think we're going to take care of business. Partially because I'm the most informed I've ever been as a Bears fan because I discovered you on your show. I want to thank you. I listen to it religiously every day. So I've been following it closely, and I just I think we made huge moves. I'm a believer in polls. I'm a believer in Flus. And, I feel like it sits on our quarterback shoulders. If he can be the man that I really believe that he is, I think the sky's the limit for this team. I'm not saying Super Bowl, but I wouldn't be surprised if we won the North.
Hey, George, appreciate the call. Appreciate the love. Appreciate you, the George Hallis out here calling. And that's a blast from the past right there, J-Mac. We're getting calls from the past. I love it. Appreciate you showing love, George. But here's what I want to hear from you, J-Mac. Here's because you got to be a part of this rivalry. You got to see it. You hear George calling in, says he's diehard, been following this team since he's 7. I'm the same way. Grew up, right? Diehard Bears fan. I hate the Packers. Are you like me where like when the players come out and they give you like I hate the Packers. It's like you don't hate the Packers, bro. Like you don't it's like we don't need to fake. That's how I feel about it. I heard Jaquan do that the other day and I was like, he don't hate the Packers, bro. He just know he gotta say that.
Nah, I'm not going to say that. I think they do have, some guys, they may not be as animated as other guys, but I think that when you come here, you know about the rivalry. And even if you weren't a Bears fan or a Packers fan growing up, you know about the rivalry. You watched the rivalry before on TV. You know the magnitude of the rivalry, right? So here's the thing, right? In this rivalry, you live in the Chicagoland area as a player. The one thing that we knew, right? You could have the worst season, but you better beat the Packers. Because if you don't, you're going to hear about it all off season. You lost to the Pack again. Hey, how's the Pack? Hey, you lost to the Pack again. You know what I mean? And that used to make my blood boil. And I'm thankful for my time here. We had a good little run against the Packers. I reached out to my guy, Doug Coletti, our statistician, and I asked him, I said, hey, what was our record here, while I was here with the Bears from 2003 to 2009? And he told me it was 7-7. And I was shocked because I thought it was better than that because towards the end of my career, we started owning them guys. But here's the thing, from 2010, right? The stat he gave me from 2010 up until now, the record is 4-23 in the Packers' favor. Like, that is ridiculous, man. And Chicago Bears, we're so tired of hearing about the Packers, man. And we have not done anything about it in terms of the Bears organization. So here's your first opportunity, right? You've got a quarterback that can transcend your offense, that can transcend your organization. You added pieces. You get to open up with them at Soldier Field, at home, in front of this fan base. Like, it's, if you don't get excited about that, I don't know, you're not a football fan.
If I'm not mistaken, I don't know if Jaquan has played against the Packers yet. So I'll ask you this, right? Coming in, of course, you understand the rivalry, but did it instantly change for you the second you played in it?
In terms of
the intensity, right? The how much it ramped up, how much, okay, no, we actually gotta beat these mugs. We gotta come out like it's on my shoulders now.
Yeah, I mean, practice, right? So the preparation is intense, right? And it's not just all on the practice field. It's intense in meetings. It's intense in your film study. It's intense in your note taking. It's intense in all of the attention, the detail that you have to put in place, right? Besides the physical part. Then you go out there on the field, right? And there's added emphasis in terms of having perfect practices, right? And nothing's perfect, but that week it was an extra emphasis. Like, Lovey did a great job of making sure that we were close to perfect as we could be. So we messed up a play, we run that play back. We missed a blitz and protection, we'd run that protection over again because we knew it was Packers week and we knew it was a must win. And it's the first thing Lovey said when he took over as head coach. You know, we're going to beat Green Bay. So we knew that we had his back. You know, Lovey was our coach. He was our guy. He was a player's coach. So as players, we didn't want to let the city down. We didn't want to let the fans down. We didn't want to let our head coach down. You know what I'm saying? So yes, there is an added emphasis when you're playing your rival. Not just your rival, but when you're playing any division game.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's you know, you really got to make sure that you're having great practices, that you're all on the same page, and just know the magnitude of this game. Like, this game is going to set up what you do for the rest of the season.
How does what the Bears do in this first game make you view the coaching staff based on the outcome, right? Because for me, when I look at this coaching staff right now, you made a decision basically to not play guys. You basically admitted that you were kind of like, okay, he's got a soft tissue thing. We're not gonna risk him. We're not gonna have him play. Blah blah blah. It is what it is. Every nick and everything that came through, guys were sitting out. All right, fine. That's the decision we're making. We're not playing them. Boom. You now get to the season. Your first game is versus your division rivals. You got the Lions playing on Thursday night. They got an opportunity to lose. If you made this decision and your team comes out flat, I'm looking at the coaching staff like, well, somebody didn't get somebody prepared.
Yeah.
Somebody didn't get somebody ready. Is this a pivotal game to start the season for this coaching staff to the point where, like, you're looking at them a little side eye as we head through the season?
Yeah, of course. Like, if you know, the Bears come out and they light the world on fire and beat the Pack or whatever, everybody say, oh, they made the right decisions. They were right to rest Justin. They were right to limit his snap counts in preseason, right? But if they don't, you know, us as analysts and fans and in the media and Bears fans, we're going to be on their head saying, hey, you know what? You should have played them more. They weren't ready. Nate Davis didn't practice at all. He held a lot of guys out. How could they be ready for the season opener? They haven't been in any live competition, any live game reps. So it's on the coaches. You know, it really is. Like, how prepared can you get your team in terms of practice with the lack thereof of live game reps? So it's all going to be put on display. A lot of answers, a lot of questions will be answered on Sunday in terms of how ready this team is and how quick they can build that continuity, how fast this offensive line can gel together. How, you know, there's still a lot of questions. Is Brisker going to come back? Is he going to play? Is he healthy? Like they said, today's a big day for him. You know, Wednesday in the NFL during practice week is a big day. You know, it's first and second down day. You're in full pads. It's probably the only day you're going to be in full pads. You know, Thursday you're going to be just in helmets and shoulder pads. Friday you're just going to be in helmets. Saturday is a walkthrough. Then you're going to go to they're going to go down to the hotel. So it's a lot of preparation, but also it's on the players as a professional, right? And being a pro, a lot of preparation takes place on your own. Because when you leave that facility, right? Once you leave that facility and you just put football behind you, you're not a pro, right? You're going to take this home. You're going to take that film study home. You're going to go back and watch the practices. You're going to go back and watch film. You're going to go back and watch your one-on-one matchup. You know what I'm saying? And that's the type of preparation and the type of mentality that you got to have if you want to be successful. Got a lot of young guys on this team. You know, it's up to the veteran guys to make sure that they're helping these guys, they're aiding these young guys in terms of getting them prepared and helping them understand the magnitude of this game.
Yeah, it's going to be a real, I mean, like, there's so much anticipation, there's so much excitement that there's also this anxious, nervous energy, right? Because you just want to finally see what this team is going to be. I'm really excited to see what this Bears team is going to end up looking like week one. You better come out on fire. And Nate Davis especially. I got an issue with, like, he was dealing with injury and other things. What else you got going on, bro? Like, you play football for a living. The thing that I'm asking you to do is what you get paid to do. I don't know. But hey, we got
You're talking about
you said what?
You're talking about practice.
We talking about practice.
Not
Hey,
again.
listen. If he come out and play like Allen Iverson, I'm done talking about practice. You know what I mean?
But here's the thing, though. Here's the thing. And I know I don't know if you have a caller or something, but here's the thing. I'll make it short, right? You got to have leaders and alphas in that locker room, right? When guys aren't practicing, I know in my day in our locker room, if you weren't practicing, you had guys on your head like, yo, why aren't you practicing? Like, what's the deal? Why aren't you practicing? You know what I mean? Like, there's an accountability level. Like, you ain't just sitting out because you don't feel like practicing. No, you're going to practice. You are going to practice.
Yeah. And I don't, here's the thing. I keep saying this, right? I don't want the narrative to be what he came here where people were like, you know, we found out in Tennessee he didn't like to practice. That's why Tennessee didn't want him, blah, blah, blah. I don't know if that's true. I have no idea. But he didn't disprove anything when he got here.
Yeah, I mean, and it's you know, we're saying that. I mean, I don't know what the thing is, right? They keep the injuries on
so close to the vest.
So you don't know what guys are going through. So that's the thing. Like, I don't want to chastise guys because I've been injured before where I couldn't practice. You know what I mean? But I've also been hurt to where I've practiced hurt. You know, it's just a level of, hey, I'm going to be out there. Like, I'm a football player. Like, I'm going out there. You know what I mean? High ankle sprain, broken fingers, whatever. You know, sprained AC joint. I'm going out there. I'm going out there. So, you know, I don't know what some of these guys' injuries are. They don't tell us, the media, so we don't know. It's only speculation. But at the end of the day, if you're able to be out there, you got to be out there.
Yeah. Hey, listen, and like I said, you go out there and play like AI, I shut up. He don't need to practice. He missed all the training camp and looked like an all-pro.
Yeah, I hope he does. I hope Nate goes out there, gets 4 pancakes, you know, he grades out at 100%, helps Darnell right, keeps Justin upright. Hey, I'm going to say, Nate, don't practice no more.
Hey, he's done practicing for the year. You keep that man ready for Sunday. Did you? Y'all, I don't even know why I was about to ask that. Y'all definitely never had anybody who was just didn't practice because they were so cold.
No,
I mean, like.
Well, here now here's the thing.
Oh, hold on now.
Story time with J Mac. And you know, my good friend Devin Hester will appreciate this because we talk about this all the time. So when Devin first came, right, and when it got cold outside, he would go in the Walter Payton Center, which is our indoor facility, right, and he would catch punts and kickoff returns in there while we're outside freezing. And I'm like, man, like, why? Like, man, it ain't even fair. Like, why does he get to go inside? You know what I mean? And then he goes out there. You see what he's doing, returning kicks. I'm like, yeah, that's fine. Hey, stay inside. Go back inside. Do what you got to do. Come out the end of practice because we know you're going to take one to the house. And if you don't take it to the house, you're going to set us up offensively in good field position.
Hey, you know what I mean? Like, at the end of the day, I guess if you're Devin Hester, it's okay. Hall of Famer, it's okay. Nate Davis, you show out. You're a Hall of Fame right guard. Yeah. Pat, shut up. Let's quickly go out to Chase on the south side, man. He's been on hold for a while. Said he's hyped for Bears Packers. Chase, what's good?
Pat, what's happening, man?
What's happening, man? How you feeling?
I'm all right. How you doing, man?
I'm all right.
Ready
I'm all
for
right,
Sunday?
brother.
Yeah, man. So my thing is though, man, my thing is like with Justin, I just want to see him just be better as far as passing. Like, you know, and be more consistent passing the ball. You know, I know a lot of people were talking about how they worried about Jordan Love being really good and how they, you know, and I'm to the point where, look, if Jordan Love is good, fine, whatever. But as long as our quarterback is good, I can't worry about what Green Bay, because, I mean, one of the reasons why the Packers have dominated us over the years is not just because of their quarterback, it's because our quarterbacks haven't been any good. So it's like, if you can't get the quarterback right, it doesn't matter. So I just want to see Justin be better as far as passing. And another thing is we can't have a situation where, there's been too many times over the years where he's rushing more, his rush yards is more than passing yards. We can't have that. We can't have him rushing for 107 yards and throwing for 150. If that happens, then we're not going to win that many football games. You know what I mean?
I think it depends on the circumstance. I appreciate you calling in, Chase. Listen,
Thanks, Chase.
at the end of the day, J Mac, I mean, you'll speak to this, right? Like, it's just about how you get the W. It's just, as long as you come away with the W, it's just about how you. It doesn't. I should say it doesn't matter how you get the W as long as you get the W at the end of the day.
Yeah, it's going to be a case where, rarely in a game all three phases are clicking: offense, defense, and special teams. Where all three phases just play at an elite level, you just blow the doors off somebody, right? It's going to be, two phases that are excelling one week. It's going to be one phase, whether it's Justin's legs offensively that's moving the ball and that's putting points on the board, or one week it's going to be his arms. But at the end of the day, like I said before, we care about that win column. If we go out there and lose to Green Bay, and we don't, but Justin throws for 200 yards and we still lose, then what? We're in the wrong column. We're in that loss column. So it's in the NFL. It's getting it done by any means necessary. And as a coach, you want all three phases to be clicking and excelling and being on, having that continuity in terms of making plays on all three phases. But at the same time, rarely does that happen. The parity is so spread out in this league, and that's why you see a lot of games are close and things of that nature. So at the end of the day, you just want to win.
And I get what Chase is saying, right? Like, listen, do I want Justin Fields to be, Deshaun Watson on the field? Got to clarify that. Sure, 100%. I want him to be the guy that goes out there and throws for 350 yards, has 3 passing touchdowns, has 65 rush yards in a game, and maybe adds on another rushing touchdown, maybe 1 interception in there. Let's be modest here, right? We can't have the world. Sure, that's what I would love for Justin Fields to be. But realistically, what we're probably going to see is early on, teams are going to play up on him. I think they're going to play a ton of single high on him, and they're going to say, listen, if you can beat us throwing the football, you beat us throwing the football. But we're going to blitz you. We're going to have a spy on you. I would say expect that probably first couple of weeks of the season. Justin's going to have to win games with his arm. After that, I think he's going to be able to beat teams with his arms. The teams are going to be like, why don't we back up a little bit? Why don't we play back just a little bit, and then he's going to have to use his legs yet again to make plays because they're going to be more worried about your DJ Moores, your Darnell Mooney's, Chase Claypools. I think that is the perfect scenario to start off this season for this Bears team because now teams don't know how to guard your quarterback.
Yeah, and here's the thing, right? To your point, right? Teams are going to play cover one, single high, one safety over the top, man everywhere else, right?
Yeah.
Now it's up to your guys, your playmakers, right? Your playmakers that you brought in, your playmakers who's another year older in this system to go out there and make plays. So guess what? DJ Moore, you're going to have to beat Jair Alexander. You're going to have to win that one-on-one matchup to get open for Justin Fields. Chase Claypool, right, who has not been in the lineup since we've seen him in training camp.
Yeah.
You were brought here for a reason, all right? You're going to have to make a play over Russell Douglas. You know what I mean? Cole Kmet. You're going to have to win on Quay Walker or whoever's covering you. You know what I'm saying? So this is why you bring in weapons. This is why you bring in pieces, right? Because they're going to make your quarterback better. They're going to accelerate his development. So it's not just on Justin, right? It's on the pieces around him. And last year we talked about Justin, he couldn't do this, he couldn't do it, he was just running the ball. Let me ask you this. When Mooney went out, who was he throwing to? Those guys you mentioned on that list who ain't even here.
Hey, bro, it's a lot of names on that list that ain't here no more.
Who is he throwing to? That's why he's running for his life, because who was he throwing to last year? Let's keep it real.
Yeah.
And I don't want to discredit those guys, right? But there's levels to this game. That's why you bring in a DJ Moore, right? Darnell Mooney's healthy. Cole Kmet got a contract extension. You bring in Robert Tonyan. Now you can go 12 personnel, but not only can you go 12 personnel to where you have Tonyan and Cole Kmet in the game who can exploit the defense in the passing game, you can go 12 personnel, and now you can have in Mercedes Lewis, one of the best blocking tight ends in the league. You compare him with Cole Kmet, and now you versatility where now, you know what, we can dictate to the defense. Now, 12 personnel with Mercedes Lewis on the field, who's an extra offensive tackle, right? I can run the ball, but I can still run play action and pass off it because now I have Cole Kmet who's a viable option in the passing game now. So you give yourself a chance, right? You give your quarterback weapons that can make him successful. In the running game, we haven't talked about that yet.
Yeah.
The running game's a quarterback's best friend. If that running game's revved up, then everything that Getsy wants to do is going to work, right? We know Getsy love running outside zone, right? They love running play action and boot off outside zone. Well, guess what? Those plays don't work if the running game is not working. You've got 3 good young backs that are hungry to make a name for themselves in the NFL who have to get the run game revved up. If the run game isn't working, nothing's going to be working in the passing game.
Let's finish it out on this, J-Mac, because we're going to get up out of here. Appreciate everybody who showed love. Hit that like button, subscribe to the page. Roshan Johnson happened to pick up a number of a former teammate of yours. Last time somebody elite wore that number. He's wearing that one now. Number 23, an iconic number here in Chicago, being now worn by Roshan Johnson. What's the expectation?
Wearing that number?
Hey, yo, I wouldn't touch that number with a 10-foot pole. I don't care how good I think I'm going to be. 23 is crazy in Chicago.
How he feels about Roshan wearing that number. You know, Devin, he's a guy who wants the young guys to do well. That's the type of person Devin is. That's the type of teammate he was. And Devin's a great human being. So, I mean, it's a lot of pressure wearing that number. You know, before Devin, it was Jerry Azuma wearing that number. You know what I mean? So it's, you know, Kyle Fuller wore that number too. Guys have, you know, a lot of greats. Obviously, we know in Chicago have worn 23.
Hey, listen,
So,
you coming in. You got Devin Hester, Jermaine Dye, Michael Jordan, of course, is the obvious one. Like, hey, listen,
all platforms of sports, right?
You putting some pressure on yourself wearing 23 in the city of Chicago, and you are running back to. It's crazy. It's crazy. Let me know what Devin say next time you talk to him, man, about how you feel about that one, man. I want to hear, because you got to be a lead in that number. You can't just be here's the tough part. I think who was wearing 23 got cut. That's why he was able to get it. Anyway, hey, man, we appreciate y'all for tuning in to another episode of the Chicago Bears podcast. Hit that like number, or hit that like button, subscribe to the page. Appreciate you guys for showing love. We'll be back tomorrow with Courtney Cronin. Listen, getting prepared for Bears Packers. J-Mac and me will be covering this team the entire season, so stay tuned in with us, man. For Jason McKee, I'm Pat the Designer, back at it again. Peace.
Bear down.
Bear down.